Welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insiders. I'm your host, Jason Stein. Great to have you back listening again with us. In part two of our conversation with Rivian Chief Operating Officer Javier Varela, we shift from the foundation to what comes next. How a fast-scaling EV manufacturer builds for the long haul in an increasingly complex and competitive global market. Varela dives into the critical role of suppliers in Rivian's next phase of growth, sharing how the company is strengthening partnerships, driving resilience in its supply chain, and aligning around speed, quality, and cost. We explore how software-defined vehicles are reshaping expectations across the value chain and what it means to scale intelligently, not just quickly. From collaboration to capability building, this episode is a forward-looking discussion on how Rivian and the broader supplier ecosystem must evolve together. We start part two with Javier reflecting on his journey from Vigo, Spain to Rivian's executive ranks, and how lessons from legacy OEMs like Volvo and PSA continue to inform his leadership in a high-growth, high-stakes environment. Here's part two of Automotive Insiders with Rivian.
I want to talk maybe the personal side of it for a moment. You grew up in Spain. You had an industrial engineering degree from the University of Vigo, correct?
Yes.
In Spain. What was it about automotive that drew you to the business? And I guess if you weren't in the automotive business, what would you be doing, Javier?
Yeah. I've been always from a small child passionate about cars, also motorcycles. I love this kind of mobility. And when I was in university, I was offered an internship in a company that back in the days was operating, had a big plant in my hometown in Vigo. That company was back in the days Citroën Hispania, part of the brand Citroën,
Yes.
part of the future Peugeot Citroën group. So I said yes, okay, I go for that internship. It was a 6 months activity while I was in university. And then when I ended up my internship, I finished my 6 months in the military as officer, serving in Spain. And while I was in the military, I received a letter from Citispa saying that they were interested on me. They wanted to hire me. And I really loved the experience. I had great fun doing what I did. The project was successful. And I just finished my university, 6 months in military, and then just the day after, I started working in that company. And since then, I have stayed in the automotive industry. It's not really because I really wanted to stay in the automotive industry. I would have worked in other industry over the years, but my career and my path went in the right way. I was progressing successfully. I was moving countries. I love traveling and I love new cultures. So I lived in different areas, different countries, and that progress kept me in the automotive industry. But the other thing I realized is that all the learnings I've got from the automotive industry that is really complex and I'm a lean manufacturing or lean management fan. All those learnings are super helpful for other industries, and I can live it now. I mean, being board member in some other companies that are not related to the automotive industry, the value you can add is amazing based on all those learnings. But yeah, automotive
Vigo,
industry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, automotive industry from the beginning, and I have stayed there and love it.
It's a interesting pathway because Vigo is, for those who don't know, is on the far western side of Spain, near the Portugal border, right on the edge of the North Atlantic Ocean. Not exactly where an automotive executive would come from, maybe, right?
Yeah, right. But look, that plant that when I started was operating there is still a plant that is a reference in performance today in
Mm,
the automotive world, and it's a plant producing probably around 600,000 per year
okay.
in the same factory. So it's a very
Efficient.
um, yeah, very efficient and significant plant, and has been obviously developing over the years. Now I've been disconnected in the last years. I don't know the details, but still a relevant plant and benchmarking plant in Europe, and I would say even for North America. I have some American colleagues. They have visited. They say, "Hey, I know your city. I've been visiting that plant." Okay, good.
Mm. Were your parents were they automotive people?
No, no, no. No, they were not automotive people. No.
No. So you didn't grow up in a
As I said,
car?
I was passionate about cars from the beginning. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
back in the days in Spain, you could get your driver license at 18 years old. So I
Yeah.
was just waiting. The day after I became 18, I was already registered for taking the license. So this passion for driving and getting into the cars, and I mean, as I said, cars and motorcycles. I also love motorcycles. I love riding motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you learn in your time at Volvo and also at PSA Group, which is now Stellantis?
Yeah, I mean, it's learnings all along my career is not just in the brand itself. In the case of PSA, I've had different positions in different countries, and that one of the big learnings is working with different cultures. So in Volvo as well. So in those times, I had as well in between PSA and Volvo. Just for clarifying, I spent some time working for a joint venture between Toyota and PSA.
Hmm.
I'm saying that because this uh, got me closer to Japanese culture. I was close to the Chinese culture, particularly when working for Volvo. With PSA in different places in Europe, as well in South America, and now with Rivian more in the North American culture. But working with different cultures and understanding, improving your emotional intelligence and that capability to understand how you need to adapt. Because what for a culture is A, for the other culture is B. For one culture is great, the other culture is mediocre. So having that capability to adapt is a great learning, and is useful not just working with different cultures. It's useful working with different people, even in the same culture, different personalities, being able to adapt it to read those differences and being able to have that good dose of emotional intelligence are paramount. So that was a great learning.
Tesla changed consumer expectations for EVs. I want to talk about culture now. Rivian is changing expectations for what EVs feel like. What do you think
Yeah.
Rivian has changed culturally about how people think about electric vehicles?
That adventure approach that we have in our vehicles, that clean, understated, but at the same time premium design, that vehicle that can be driven every day to work, but at the same time can be used for your weekend adventures. So that combination of weekend adventures, going out off road, with the daily commuting, is I think is a great add-on. As well, you know, the 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 sustainability piece, how we are connected to our mission, and keeping the world adventures forever. So those are some of the elements that Rivian have has introduced to our customers.
Is it also it's almost building its own culture on a daily basis, isn't it? As more people are exposed to it, as you're coming out with new vehicles, as the word of mouth starts to spread, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are very, very excited now with the launch of R2. That is a car that, is going to be um, less price than the R1, so we can access in that package to a bigger audience. We have customers that couldn't reach an R1 because of the position, but they will be able to do it with R2. So we'll dramatically increase our customer reach through this R2, and it's a great car.
Yeah. A lot of talk, Javier, in the last year or so about American manufacturing. You're doing it. I mean, you're sourcing parts in America. You're building in America. I was in the room with your founder, RJ Scaringe, when he walked in and told me and probably 4 or 5 other people that you were going to take over, Rivian was going to take over the Normal, Illinois plant, and that would become a centerpiece of Rivian's story. In many ways, RJ was ahead of the manufacturing conversation in America before a lot of other people. What are you most proud of operationally in what Rivian is doing in the United States, and also how the facility in Illinois has evolved?
Yeah, the strategy that I always had in my previous operations experiences of building where you sell.
Yeah.
I really adhere to it. I'm a real supporter of that approach. Building where you sell, sourcing where you build. And in the case of Rivian, that's one of the attractive things for me to join, right? Is that there were many areas where both approaches, my thinking and Rivian strategy were matching, were exactly connecting. So this is to say that Rivian strategy has been from the start, this build in America, source in America for our American customers. The first plant is the one in Normal, Illinois. This plant has been growing over the last years, and the big element that we are adding now is a new process for R2. So we have established, it's already built and in test, a new body shop, a new general assembly, I mean the final assembly line, new battery assembly line, and new drive unit assembly line. And we have as well increased the capacity in the paint shop to be able to host at the same time R1, the R2, and the van we are building in here. Additionally, in that building in America, we are preparing a new plant in Georgia, in close to Atlanta. We will start construction this year. I mean, we started already grading the site. It's a very nice site, surrounded by trees, really matching our environmental purposes. Really nice plant. So growth in Normal with a new flow for producing R2, and more than doubling the capacity we had installed, and a new plant in Georgia that will start very soon.
The company is going through a massive change, just given that. What does success look like for Rivian in the future? In which ways do you have to improve or change or adjust in order to achieve your next goals?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is customer satisfaction. I want that club of
Yeah.
customer and Rivian owners to grow and to keep that same engagement, and to have more people engaged with the brand. That's obviously the very first one, customer first. The second, obviously, is to grow. So our R2 is going to be a vehicle of growth. Will take us to the next step, and there are more models to come. One that we have already presented in the past, R3, that will be the next in line to continue that growth. So that's in the next year, our path is clear. What will be our vehicle lineup and how we can support our customers with great experiences, with great adventures, and with that family-oriented car that can be driven every day, but as well taken off-road during the weekend if you want to go more for an adventure. So that's the main direction, right? So we will expand. We will go outside the US in some moment in time, but now the full focus is North America.
And in North America, the EV climate has now changed, and even since you and I talked maybe last, there's a lot of talk of other competitors who were going to become fully electric, now not going to become fully electric. And the pendulum is now swinging the other way. Rivian has always been on one end of the pendulum, but for others, the pendulum is constantly swinging. Does that help or hurt you? Does changing regulations that occurred in 2025, does that make it easier for you because other legacy automakers are now stepping back and saying, okay, we're now doing hybrids, or we're doing internal combustion, or we have written off $7 billion in EV plans and infrastructure? What is that? Does that help or hurt you? You're just staying over here doing your thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is we have a clear long-term strategy, and we are sticking to our plan, and we are not swinging. We have a clear path moving forward. I think that's a great advantage for a company. Having that goal, a mission, clear mission, federating all the teams in the company with that clear goal, that clear path. The other way, you will create a lot of confusion already internal. So that's a great point. With this said, we love competition. I think more competitors, more development of EVs will help the society. We'll have to have more offering. So we are not against additional competition. So no special advantages on introducing it or increasing it. Again, we have our clear path, and we move forward based on that.
What is one assumption about the EV market that you think is wrong?
Difficult to answer that question. In terms of technology, probably people, they haven't never driven an EV. They don't understand that performance, the performance of the car. And that's one of the big tasks, is to get people driving our cars or other EVs, but particularly our cars. The performance that you get, and the satisfaction and the smoothness, the silence. I mean, there's tons of advantages that customers, they don't understand, and they stay maybe in some thinking of range anxiety, or will the car work properly without having tested it. I think that's the wrong thinking about the EVs.
Sure, yeah. And infrastructure that's improving at all times and continuously, right? Yeah. Just a couple of more questions. What does success look like for you, Javier? If we have this conversation at the beginning of 2027, what would you want to have achieved in the previous 12 months?
For me, is the way how I'm happier and the more successful man in the world is having developing the teams. And that's my big task here in my current position, is securing that we create a robust team that can take the company to the next levels of performance. So even 27, I can say, oh, wow, this is my top gun team that has been developed in the last couple of years. capable to continue moving the company forward, that will be a success point for me as a person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing that success for you too would be the ability to scale and continue to work towards higher volume levels, plant the next iteration of your plant in Georgia, and that manufacturing footprint that will only increase, and probably getting more of your community into your vehicles. Correct?
Yeah, correct. That's the piece of growth I was just referring before.
Yeah.
Securing more customers engaged in our community, testing our vehicles, buying our vehicles, having fun with our vehicles, and that growth should be supported by execution in terms of industrial capacity, by designing more and more amazing vehicles with affordable costs and a great value for the money.
Some people wouldn't know you also sit on the board of Zero 100, which is an industry-led platform that aims to generate resources research with the goal of achieving a carbon negative supply chain. You're working on things at all times that are more towards Rivian's philosophy than anybody else, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very proud to be in the advisory board of Zero 100 and working with Oli Sloboda and his team in this goal of zero emissions and 100% digital. I'm passionate about digital, AI, the capabilities of technology can offer to the business. And actually, in our transformation in Rivian, in my team, we have put in place a plan 12 months ago. We call it Catapult 26. We call it Catapult because of the acceleration of the Catapult, 26 because it was a 2 years plan preparing for the launch of R2. And in that Catapult 26 plan, we have defined 4 pillars to work on. One of them is organization. And we have done big activities in clarifying organization, roles and responsibilities, accountability, those horizontal processes I was referring just before, end-to-end and securing cross-functional work. That's one piece. Leadership, I mean, the leadership traits we want to see and coaching, leading by example is another pillar. The third one is our Rivian production system. That is all the lean principles we want to see, right? Create flow, quality, standardized work, Kaizen, people development. It's a house of principles that we are using to coach really hands-on. This is not training in a meeting room, it's coaching hands-on. And the last one, the fourth pillar, is technology. And we are working in let's say in 2 fields. One is ET, enterprise technology for our software systems, industrial systems, supply chain, quality. We are developing our own systems. And the other piece of technology is automation and AI. We have our own team working with vision. So we are developing our own vision systems. We are digitizing the supply chain. We are digitizing important pieces of the operation in that goal of digital, but digital in a way that you can support the individual, right? I'm always saying, yeah, you can enhance the capabilities of our employees, but they need to have always the capability to act, to interact, to take the final decision. But how we can enhance with the digital support. So 0-100, one of the pieces of the mission is obviously the digitalization of the supply chain in this case.
He is one of Motor Trend Magazine's 50 auto industry's biggest movers and shakers. And all the way from Vigo, Spain. It is wonderful to spend time with you, Javier. Thank you for telling the Rivian story. Thank you for telling your own story. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck as you continue to change car culture here in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Great pleasure to be here.
Thanks again to my guest, Javier Varela, COO of Rivian. And thanks for listening. Come back to this platform for more interviews throughout the year and a variety and library of many other interviews. I'm your host, Jason Stein. We'll see you again next time.